from My Metal Today, and as you probably have seen, I've been featuring a number of bands that are going to be playing Progstorm Festival, taking place in Montreal here in just, 6 weeks now or so, kind of in later August. And today, all the way from Sweden, I have the band Vulkan, who is all here with me virtually. You can see all the different band members here. And I'm going to hand it over to them. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves.
Yes, I start, I guess. My name is Christian. I play guitar.
My name is Oscar, and I play bass.
My name is Olle, and I play the keyboards.
And I'm Johan. I'm playing the drums.
Yeah, my name is Jimmy. I sing in Vulkan. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for making the time. I know figuring out time zones between Seattle on the west coast of the U.S. and anywhere in Europe is challenging, so I really appreciate you all making the time today. So we'll just go ahead and dive right on in. Usually the first thing that I like to ask about is, what is the band's origin story? Like, how did you all kind of meet, get together? What was just walk us through the journey of how Vulkan got started.
Well, Jimmy and I were the original members of the band, so we started we started the band with mutual friends from the beginning. So I was in a band and Jimmy was in a band, and we kind of joined ourselves into a new band, which was like unnamed in the beginning, and we just started jamming and had fun together. I don't know what kind of music. What would you say? What kind of music did we start out doing, Jimmy?
I would say like alternative metal or nu metal. A lot of influences like Incubus and such bands from the States. And through the years, we managed to find our own way through that music. So but we started like basic nu metal, and not that I don't know. I don't like it today, but you should never regret your past.
No,
so.
But it wasn't bad, really. We were really.
It was good for being new metal.
We were really ambitious. We had fun, but we had we wanted to write good music. That was the it still is the biggest part in this band also. Just write good music that we ourselves like. But when was that, Jimmy? 2004 when we first met?
Yeah, it's I think it's it's probably 20 years or so. So that's about right. You remember the first name? Yeah, more just Garvin.
Yep.
We had my cat was named Marvin, and we made this word pun from Gorgeous Marvin into Morgeous Garvin. Really stupid, but it was fun at the time. And then through the roads we met these beautiful fellas along the way from the same town. So from Technatura we were a set piece and never to be broken again, I think.
That's a nice segue, actually. So maybe for Oscar, Christian, and Ali, how did the three of you kind of come into the band?
It started with me and Jimmy. We played in another band where Jimmy played drums, actually, and I played bass, called Orb Designer. We got to know each other there, and then Jimmy told me that the guitar player from Vulkan quit, and he asked me if I wanted to try, and I was already a fan.
You already knew the songs, right, from Masquerade, so it's
probably, but I mean, Masquerade was one of my top 10 albums, to be honest. I listened to it a lot, so of course I wanted to join. And then me and Oscar are old friends since since birth, and so because and then the bass player quit also, and I knew Oscar, so I asked if he wanted to join also, and then we needed to find a new keyboard
everyone
player.
left.
This was right before Observance
Yeah,
was
exactly.
released.
Because you guys did play on Observance, right? It was you joined after the recordings.
Yeah, the recording was done, but we
Yeah.
played the release party for it.
Yeah, and it was kind of the same thing for me with Technatura, because I joined in the late mix process. I think. It was actually a mutual friend of Christian and Oscar that I knew, and he told me that there was this band that I should join because they were looking for a keyboard player. And it's kind of fun because I know Jimmy and Johan since before, but I didn't know that they needed a keyboard player. I mean, we went to Metal Charities in a few years, but I knew you from way back. But it was through Christian and Oscar that I joined the band.
Yeah, we went to the same primary school.
Yeah.
You were 1 year younger than me and 3 years younger than Johan, so we knew about you as well as a musical genius. So it was a humble honor to have you.
But also, I didn't think of you, Olle, as a keyboard player. I thought of you as a guitar player.
No, yeah, because I played guitar back then, but now I don't know who I am actually. But, I think I'm a keyboard player now.
You are just Olle.
Yeah. I do whatever.
Yeah, so that's...
Yeah, but it was a great honor to join Vulkan, and I mean Technatura is such a strong album, so to be able to join the band just as that album was released was it was a big honor.
Yeah, we're honored to have you.
That was super cool. Well, maybe a follow-up question to that. And first off, it sounds like I'm pronouncing the band name wrong. So how do you pronounce the band name? You sound like you're putting the emphasis on the second syllable. Is that correct?
Yeah, Vulkan. But you're not
Vulkan.
the first. You're not the first one.
Well, then where did the name come from?
It has nothing to do with Star Trek. Really, like we needed to change name. We felt that we needed to change the name before we released Mask of Air, because we didn't want to be named Mortis Garvin anymore, because it's such a silly name. It's really obscure and very unique, but we wanted a name that kind of resonated with the music more. So we came up with Vulkan, which is volcano in Swedish. It's just simple and really
Oh, cool.
kind of what the music is, really. Like build-ups, and, at the end of the song, you get the eruption, or you don't. Maybe some smoke. But that was the way we saw it back then. Like building up to the eruption, really.
Yeah, I remember we were really shocked that no one had the band name previous to us in Sweden, because it's open goal for a band name, like a volcano. But it was meant to be.
Yeah, but nowadays you see Vulkan everywhere, really. Like there's some DJ and
Some Polish Polish cover bands and
yeah. So we're not unique in that sense, but we play progressive rock, so that's unique for that name, I think.
No, that's really cool. And just as a total aside, there's another band playing Progstorm from your same country, an Abstract Illusion, and although they don't have a geological formation in their name, one of my favorite songs from the last album is about a geyser erupting, and so kind of you talk about Vulkan kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Kind of cool to have that connection there. But thank you for sharing. That's a super cool origin story. I don't speak Swedish, so I didn't know that was what it meant. Makes a lot of sense now, and especially as I think through some of your music, you do have a lot of those long builds in the songs that do really kind of hit hard at the end, and so it's a very appropriate name. So that's super cool. Thank you for sharing that insight. So, we talked about kind of how the band got together. Now we know what the band name means. What are some of the different influences that each of you bring to the band? Like, one thing that I noticed about Vulkan is that there's a lot of stuff going on, right? Every song's a little bit different. Even within a song, you'll hear a lot of varied influences as the song progresses. What are some of the influences that each of you bring? Like, what are some of your favorite bands and some of the things that inspire you the most from a musical standpoint?
Who wants to start?
Well, we have. I think we have the power of Vulkan is that we have we come from a lot of different backgrounds in music. I mean, I was a football player. I got forced into singing by the old guitarist of Vulkan. He was starting a band, and he said, "Yeah, you have to sing. No one can sing. You have to try." And I just quit football and started singing, and then I started to like music, and I came in, with Guns N' Roses and that kind of music. And then through Johan, I guess you brought Tool and that kind of music into my life, and the rest is history. Once you hear Tool, you can never go back. So they're the golden gods.
Well, I guess you can for some people, but not for us. But Guns N' Roses, I didn't think of that. No. Well, we all listen to Appetite for Destruction, I guess. But I come from a completely different background. I started listening to Oasis when I grew up. Played drums to those simple beats. My dad had some drums in the basement, so I played to the music I listened to, really. And that's how I learned to play drums. So from Oasis to Pearl Jam, and I was a little late to the grunge scene, so I kind of started listening to that in 99 or something. So, and got through all the bands and Seattle bands and all that, and then came Tool after that, and then all that 90s music. I love that. Like that raw power, and also the lyrics, which is more deeper than, I guess so, for a Swedish guy. I guess it's more. I think it's interesting with lyrics that isn't in your face really. You have to think of what they're saying really. And Maynard in Tool, he's great at that. So that drew me in. But nowadays, I listen to a lot of music, all from pop to not death metal really, but I don't know what the heaviest, like Gojira maybe. So. Yeah, so
that's death metal. I would
okay.
Death metal.
Okay, then I listen to death metal. So it's really broad. I listen to everything really. So whatever's good, I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm the same as well. Like very very broad in my music listening.
Be
in
honest,
my early days,
only jazz.
In my early days, it was just like thrash metal. That was all for me, like 80s thrash metal. A lot of Metallica and Slayer and Megadeth and Pantera and all that stuff. That was the only thing I listened to. But then my father is a musician as well, so it was a lot of classic rock. A lot of like Clapton and Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. Frank Zappa. But nowadays it's the same as Johan says. I'm very broad. I'm the jazz cat of the band. I listen to a lot of blues, a lot of psychedelic rock, like King Gizzard and Murlocs and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I also come from a music family. My parents have played my whole life, and my dad had a band, and me and the other band members' sons started a band, and we wanted to be harder and cooler. So we played like math metal, I would say. Not that competent, I should say we were, but we tried. We did our best and we had fun with it. And then I've played so many things over the years. I've been in a pop band, I've been in a hip hop group playing guitars, and now I teach music, and so I always, have to try and listen to my students and find what they like, and try to hear it from their point of view, so I can dive deep into very different kinds of music and help them in their journeys. But right now for me, I'm into kind of ambient stuff, and like this Sigur Rós is one of my favorites right now. Icelandic post-rock, I would guess, band.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of different stuff, but it's fun to be back in the playing in the harder side of the music.
It's interesting you mentioned Sigur Rós and post rock. Like, I went through a post rock phase when I was a good bit younger, and I have found myself getting a lot more into it, especially with the whole post metal genre that brings in so much of that, and even a lot of prog brings in a lot of post rock. I mean, you guys have post rock influences in your stuff too.
Yeah,
and
sure.
And I've really gotten into a lot of that recently. A band like Alcest would be a good example of one. Where they mix kind of like the post black metal, but with a lot of the post rock and post metal influence. And there's just so many different bands that are doing that these days that are quite good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
My turn now.
Please,
Yes,
please share, Christian. Please share.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I was a kid, I guess I listened to like Elton John, Dire Straits. Nothing, I don't remember really. But then I found Iron Maiden when I was 12 something, and then from there I just escalated and started to listen to more and more heavy music, extreme metal, and at the same time I started to listen to more and more old progressive rock like King Crimson and Pink Floyd and everything, and then it just took. I don't know. Nowadays I listen to anything. It's Toto one day, then it's Cannibal Corpse, and then it's classical music, and it's pop music. I mean,
you don't listen to reggae?
No, reggae. I hate reggae. I can't stand it. But yeah. Other than that, everything. All and everything.
That definitely sounds like there's a pretty big, melting pot, so to speak, of different, influences and styles from each one of you, which I think is definitely reflected in kind of the sound that Vulkan makes. So maybe a hard question to answer. It's one that I know I've had difficulty, and I think a lot of people have had difficulty kind of saying, well, hey, what does Vulkan sound like? Obviously it's progressive, but like, how would you, like, if you were asked, hey, how would you characterize your sound? Like, how would you? Like, what would you tell somebody who's new or doesn't know who you are? Like, what can they expect from you?
That's always a hard question to answer, really. Like,
yeah, I think we've never been able to answer that question in a good way, because it feels maybe self-righteous or whatever to not we have our own sound, but I really can't find another band with the same sound. But I mean, we have, like you said, a lot of different influences from all around the music table, but the sound of Vulkan, I don't know what I should compare it to. It's like, we play heavy prog. Have you heard about Tool? Have you heard about Mastodon? Or have you heard about but we don't sound like them. We have small bits and parts that reminds of it. But it's what would you used to say, heavy prog. Was that sometime like
Progressive
heavy
rock,
prog
prog.
pop? Like, but I don't know.
No, it's we had a hard time searching for a genre to fit in, but like that's for other people to decide. We're not the ones who decide what kind of music we play. Well, we play the music we play, but what kind of music it is, it's up to the listener, really. It can be anything. You can call it whatever, like flower pop, or I don't know, Bond rock. I don't know. It's up to the listener, just as long as you like it, you know.
Let's call it flower pop from now on.
That's going to be the headline for the interview.
Do we play
an interview with flower pop band Vulkan?
And I don't mean flowers, I mean flour to bake. No.
It's even getting better. You know, at Progstorm, you're going to have to bring some bags of flour and like shake it all over the audience.
Yep.
It's your volcano. You have a flower volcano. I think we just answered the origin story of the band right there.
Let's bring some props and hit the scene.
It's Chilomel.
You know, it's interesting. You know, like when I listen to, and I've been listening to Technatura a bunch recently. I get different vibes at different times, depending on sometimes how I'm paying attention to something. So, you know, bands that immediately come to mind is kind of that, what I would call that newer wave of kind of prog rock and prog metal. You know, bands like Carnival or ILO. You know, bands like that. But then my son was listening to it with me yesterday. And let's see, how did he describe it to me? He described it as, I don't remember which song we were listening to, but he's like, this song kind of reminds me of a Leprosy Darkwater. And I like thought for a second, I'm like, okay, I can kind of hear both of those here. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that myself, but it was interesting that was his response, is that those were the two bands he heard kind of in some of the things that were going on. And I wish I remember which song we were listening to, so I can't tell you, but you know, it's fun kind of hearing how people will respond and hear different things. And that's one of the things I think is kind of cool about the album and your sound, is that it does bring a lot of stuff together and can hit in different ways.
Yeah. And that's all up to the listener, really. Like, what do you feel when you listen to this song? It's not that we had the intention to write a song that sounded like these bands or whatever. We just create and arrange and play the songs that we like to hear ourselves. Really, we write songs that we want to hear ourselves, and I think that's the way to go, because when you start, you know, listening to what other people think, or what you think is right, or what you think sounds good, and then it's up to the others to choose if it's good or bad or neutral. What do you other guys say?
Makes total sense.
No, but it's like that. We don't make music for any other reason than to like it ourselves. That's always been the case. So if it's supposed to be, you know, making this kind of song to sell more, or to be seen more, or to be like, just make music because of the old school way, because it's fun, because we want to make good music, and we're always going to keep doing that and never sell our souls completely to the devil. Just making it through the heart for ourselves, and gladly people like it, so we can do what we want to do, play the music live and come to Canada, for example, to play. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And also, like other places we've played in, like we've kind of grown, like not steady, but it has taken some time for us to, you know, get seen or whatever. because we haven't really gone into the marketing of the band. I don't know why that is. I think in the beginning when we wrote music, and we had we had that if the music's good enough, people will notice. And we're still that band, because Technatura now, like, we released it 6 years ago. And what did you say, Oscar? We had like 35 listeners on Spotify, March of 2020.
Early
Yeah.
2020.
And when we released the Technatura album, we kind of stepped up the listening ladder, and people wrote about us on Reddit and made some YouTube videos and like reaction videos or reviews or whatever, and then steadily it has, the music has been more exposed to people all over the world, really, without us not doing anything, really. Like, the music has spoken for itself, and other people have.
I guess you can call it like organic growth, like it's not forced or pushed or anything. It's like just organically the sound of the jungle drum, from one ear to another ear, and that's organic growth. And then you get the people that listen, the real fans, they really like what they're hearing, and they come to our music because they really like the music, and that's the only reason. So I think that's been good for us anyways.
Yeah. We've been a band for over, 20 years maybe. So now things are starting to happen. Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, cool stuff. Well, you mentioned Technatura, and I mentioned it as well. Can you all kind of walk through the writing approach to that album? Obviously, it's the latest album. It's been around for 6 years now. It's got a lot of variety. I would actually say maybe the most variety of anything you've put out. Can you walk us through kind of the approach, both musically and thematically, for that album?
Yeah, it was after we joined. When we joined and just released Observance, me and Oscar, we had to learn the old Vulkan songs, and we started to rehearse those songs, and I started to write stuff. It felt a bit weird and difficult at first, because I didn't feel kind of comfortable in the beginning, because I really liked Vulkan and I didn't want to screw it up and make bad riffs. But then I don't know, I think it was after I wrote this Visual Hex, that riff, that foundation, that I remember Jimmy called me up and said, "Yeah, just like that, I like that." And then I felt, yes, okay, now I have something. So for me it was, I don't know, I was trying to keep the Vulkan sound, but kind of make it make my thing out of it. You know what I mean? And I wrote some songs.
I remember you had like, I don't know how many demos you had on like different riffs, or like half songs, or like complete songs, and we tried a lot of different ideas.
We rehearsed a lot
until we settled on these. Is it 12 tracks? Yeah, a lot of the most tracks in our discography, really, on an album. So it was you started writing, and we kind of jammed, and rehearsed it together, so the band felt. Yeah, we rehearsed a lot. Like, so we felt really comfortable with each other, and we've never sounded this good ever, really. So when we went into the studio, like we recorded everything live, like drums, bass, and guitars in the same room. Yeah, wow. So and that felt good because that's what we were really rehearsing for. So it was easier when we actually was in the studio. So and then afterwards the lyrics and the melodies came after. So that's the way we've always done it, like the music first and then the melodies, which for some people find very hard to do. But that's the way we approached.
It's hard for everyone. I spent like a good amount of my total lifetime listening to Christian's demos, but I love doing it. So it's I hope it keeps on.
Yeah, and also like thematically, I don't know what it was really. Like we didn't go in and had an idea about the thematic origins or what the arc of the album really, because I think you and I, Jimmy, we started writing lyrics for it, and I think you had the idea for the album title, right?
Yeah, because I like to play with words as always, and the nature and the tech combined, and that made a soothing or fitting like theme for Christian's writing and everything. It all just fell together in a very soothing way. Like it all happened for a reason, I guess. It's luckily we found each other and like everything melted.
Yeah. And if you look at the lyrics, I don't know if you can, like I think there's a how do you say it in English, like in Swedish we say a red thread through the album, like a
like a constant thread or a
theme
that flows through.
Like if it's about society or like the world in general, like from an objective standing point. Now it disappeared.
Well, hopefully we'll see if he comes back or not.
Hopefully. But it's still that it's always been about, you know, being a little human being looking at the world from and seeing all these injustices and just like commenting on the world, really. Not that, you know, we have opinions or whatever, but just a objective standpoint, like this is how it looks in the world. Should we keep on doing this, or should we do something else? The meaning in, I think it's different tracks and songs. They mean different things, I think, but and they have different feelings also. So but it feels like the album kind of, it's a complete album.
All right. Well, Christian, you mentioned it earlier, but the Visual Hex, like, I think it's a super, super powerful opener for an album. It's just, I don't know, something about the song just hits really hard, and it really gets things rolling in the right way. Can you and the other band members maybe dive a little bit more into the song structure? especially since there's also the inclusion of a flute. I believe it's a flute anyway, which I also think adds a lot of really cool texture. So I'd love to just hear a little bit more about the songwriting approach for that song specifically.
Actually, when I wrote that riff, I tried a different tuning on the guitar. I used the same tuning as Mastodon do on March of the Fire Ants, if you know that song. They tune down the E string to B. So you have, when you're playing normal power chords, you get octaves. And so I made that riff in B, very low. So, but then, because I wanted to just try something, but then we decided to just play it in E standard instead. But I don't really. I guess I wrote the song from start to finish, and then we maybe tweaked it a bit. We had almost like a finished product, and then we like polished it in the rehearsal. Yeah, the flute. I think I probably played it on the Mellotron plugin, Mellotron flute, because I always use that. So, but then we had a real flute on the recording. Oh, there he is.
I'm so sorry. Just evaporated into nothingness. My power bank wasn't ready for the phone. I guess was too much info through the video. So sorry. Now I have fully charged, and now I'm ready.
We all might need to put our heads on our side though. Because you're kind of on your head. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better.
Yeah, I think the breakdown we rehearsed with a piccolo snare. I think we rehearsed that into what it became. That's just my memory, but you wrote the entire song, really.
Yeah, I guess I did. The riffs, at least.
Yeah, we called it. I don't know if we should say what
hoarding in.
Hoarding in. Well, the hard one.
The hard one.
The hard one.
That was the working title.
Yeah, the working titles. It can be anything.
Yeah. Yeah, but sorry.
I'll say with that working title, like, would you guys consider that one to be one of the more challenging ones to play from Technatura?
It's not hard, not hard like difficult. It's more hard like
hard.
Like the heavy one. Would be,
oh, I see. It is definitely one of the heavier ones for sure.
Yeah, and it was a bit. It didn't sound like the previous Vulkan stuff, really, I guess. But it kind of was something new, a bit.
Yeah, and we felt really excited about like finding a new sound and rehearse with your songwriting and kind of. And you were really open to us critics that we tried a lot of different stuff, and then we all settled in the end, like, okay, this is gonna sound like this, and it was we did together, and that I think you can hear it really on the album also. Like it feels I can't get the right word for it, but it felt like we worked on it a lot in all the songs.
Yeah,
So
we did.
And that's why it sounds so good, I think.
But I don't know. Before I joined, did you jam all songs, or did you had like one person doing an idea? And do you remember how you did?
Yeah, we basically were jamming for hours and hours until we came up with stuff, or Like felt that, you know, that feeling you get when you play with people and all of a sudden you're all there. Like you, I guess you can call it flow, and everyone's so excited. Like, yeah, this is it, kind of. So yeah, that basically that's what we did before you guys joined. So it was fun and also very tedious at times, but we played around a lot, and that I think we learned a lot from that. But now, like when you, Christian, come like present a new song, it's not an idea, it's a whole song. It's a different ball game, really. Like you can hear the idea or the song in its entirety, and you can pick and choose really from the parts in the song. And well, this part we need to it needs this to happen until we can go to the next part. So we work on that. So it's I guess it's easier for me, and when you have a songwriter in Christian, really, and it doesn't take up so much time. Well, it does for you when you write it, but
I've never been into that jamming stuff that much, like jamming for hours, because I don't have any patience for that. For me, it's better to sit here in my home, just alone, and come up with stuff and presenting it to the other guys. But we're all different. But then we jam on the ideas and try them out. That's a different thing. And you have at least have something to work with.
Yeah. And then we did that with Technatura a lot.
So kind of a lot of initial ideation from maybe Christian or even other folks potentially, and then kind of bring all your ideas together.
Yep.
Yeah, like everyone got heard, and we made the decisions together in the end.
Yeah,
that's cool. And I think for an album like Technatura, which does bring so many different sounds and influences and feels to it, that you can almost feel that collaboration kind of coming together, because there is a lot going on.
Yeah.
So one question on Technatura itself, and I think we said that Jim actually made he came up with the title, but one thing that's interesting about it is that the title track is only 58 seconds long. It's like not a full long song, which is kind of unusual for a title track. And so I was curious if there's a story there. Did the album title come out first, or did you come up with the name first and then that's just what you wanted to do? Like I'm just curious. Like I found that interesting.
We had the title that Jimmy came up with, and then I had that guitar that guitar thing idea, just a demo thing, and then we just recorded that, added bass and some synthesizers, and then we said, it's a like middle track, something we can have on the album. It sounds nice. And then what should we call it? We don't have a title track. Maybe we should just call it Technatura. So we did. And that's the story.
It was easy just to name it.
You should have said that. No, it's the mixture of nature and the technical world. That's how it sounds, but it's not. It's not that. It's just a.
We can listen to it and think that was the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes it more interesting.
Well, cool. I was wondering about that because that is definitely it's atypical. And so thank you for sharing that. That's a fun little insight into the album. So one of my personal favorite songs is "Bewildering Perception of Truth." I don't know, just something about that song just hits me really hard. And like when I dive into it from like a lyrical standpoint, it seems like it goes pretty deep and hits pretty hard as well. So I'd love to hear from you, kind of, what was the meaning there? Kind of what was the motivation and inspiration for that song? And that one also does a good job bringing in things like stringed instruments, which also kind of adds some additional cool layering to the song. So maybe what I'm really asking for is a little bit of a deep dive into that song specifically, both musically and lyrically.
Jimmy?
It all started with one line, basically, like the Reaper in the hourglass. And that was also connected to maybe the thematic of the album with nature and tech versus like the Reaper in the hourglass being the what we see today with AI and everything. It's haunting, it's creeping on, it's we don't even know what AI can do and what it can't, and that's we had the prophecy early on, but I think basically every track on Technatura has a connection to that battle between Mother Nature and the future of what's to come with the inventions and humans. We like to get everything to become easier and. Soon we don't have to lift our fingers, to wipe our asses. So it's like everything just gets easier and easier, and we adapt. And so I think that's basically why also the bewildering conception of truth. Like it's one truth that you feel, or what is normative, or whatever, what you get through through ordinary life, and then there's probably another truth for someone else, I don't know if I make any sense, but that's my thoughts on bewildering conception of truth. Do you have anything other to say, Johan, or you were involved in the text lyrics a bit as well? But that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I actually listened to it before the interview, and I thought about it, and it's what I kind of said in the beginning of the interview, like the objective stance on the world and society, and how humans, well, not all humans, but you have something in your head called a brain, and don't follow everything you hear, and think for yourself, basically. That's what I think of when I read the lyrics. Like use the tool you have inside your head.
Yeah, I know when I read the lyrics, a lot of what comes out for me is it's don't just blindly follow things or blindly believe things, and there's a lot of that, and whether it's religion or politics or even technology for that matter, to kind of stay with that theme. You see a lot of people, to use a colloquialism, jumping on the bandwagon and just following it, without really questioning it, no matter what it is. And I think the theme I took away from that song, and I think why I like it so much, because it's a core of who I am, is if you believe something, you better understand why you believe it. You better be able to state clearly why you believe it. And it's amazing how many people can't do that. And
yep.
And it's so, for me, that's how, I think that's why the song hit as hard for me as it did.
Oh, cool. Glad the message came through.
And also every lyric, I think, basically is also a reminder to to oneself. I mean, I don't know if I should say this, but I do. A couple of days ago, I was writing in a regular paper with a regular pen, and I found myself trying to scroll on the paper. You know, I don't know why. You know, but it happened because that's got programmed in me for so long now with the phone or tablet or whatever. So I actually tried to scroll on paper. So it's a constant reminder to myself as well. All the lyrics I write as anyways. So not to set to be on, what do you call it? To sit on the high horse, you know, and like, yeah, I know this and you don't. It's not like that. It's a reminder to oneself as well.
No, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's a fun insight.
I
appreciate the transparency.
I was going crazy, you know, but it's like that.
No, it is amazing what we all get used to doing, and you know, like get on, like I call it going on autopilot. You know, like when you're driving somewhere and you take the same route every day, and you're gonna like take a detour, and without even thinking, you miss your detour because you're on autopilot. You're just doing whatever you're used to doing, and that translates to so many things that we do. And we do see, I think we do see a lot of that in the world today. And so I think a lot of the, like that song I said in particular was one that, you know, kind of hit home for me. But, you know, I think it's interesting, like how do we still, you know, move forward with technology without it taking over us and without it controlling us? And I think that's an interesting, you know, thought process, a thought experiment.
Yeah, and you asked about the musically how we came up with it, or
yes, particularly since I know this song features a lot of strings as well.
Yeah, I don't know if did we have strings on the demo, Christian?
I think so.
Yeah.
Not like the final.
No, that.
But that was written by. Do you remember who wrote?
Martin Isaksson, friend of mine. He's in another band. He plays the trumpet, and he arranged the strings on that one. And his wife Diana, she's playing them along with Johannes in the same band. He plays the cello. So so that was really cool that he came up with that kind of eerie, back and forth kind of feel in the breakdown or whatever you call it. That made the song more different from a lot of things you hear, I think. So yeah,
it really took the song to a new level. When we heard that thing, that was really whoa, new song.
It
really
definitely adds a lot of depth. There's no question about it. Like I know that's one reason why I called out the strings in particular. I believe it's the first time that they show up on the album. I could be mistaken, but I believe, at least in the song order, I think it's the first time that they're that prominent.
Yeah.
And it was like, whoa, this sounds really cool. I love strings in rock and metal anyway. I always have. But I think it really, like, sometimes people just add strings just to add them. Here, they really feel like an intricate part of the song. And like to your point, Christian, I think they do bring it to another level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also Hammond organ in that song, right?
Yep.
Real Hammond organ, played by a real organist.
And a huge round of applause to Ulla, who plays everything on keys. Just so I don't know how you do that, but he is every instrument.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know either, but it's hard, but also very fun to program the patches for our live shows, because they are so weird. I mean, there's a flute on some keys, and there's an organ on some keys, and then I trigger some samples on some keys. It's a dance to play.
It's always fun to hear when Olle explains what they've done when we're playing a new song. Then I do it like this, and then I press this button, and then and then I can, you know. And it's like, how the hell can you have all the things in your head?
A nerdy side, but
yeah. That's a huge side of you.
When it comes to music and that stuff.
Well, maybe moving on to another question. So Technatura, I believe, is the first album where you chose to have some songs in Swedish. And so I'm curious, what was the inspiration for doing that? And I think there's 4 of them, if I remember correctly. So, like, what was the inspiration for that?
Yeah, I think I started to make some attempts on doing, you know, songs of my own in my native tongue, Swedish. And I can't remember which song it was, but I think you heard it, Johan, or can't really remember. But
I think it was Morans Ritt, the first one you.
Yeah.
Because that one was going to be instrumental, but then you, I don't know, decided that it would be cool to have Swedish on a song.
Yeah.
And that's
Morans Ritt, I guess, because it was very what do you call it, exploratory, because it's about my own lucid dreams and, you know, stuff. So felt more natural maybe to do that in Swedish when you really had to get write something off your chest or whatever. Write the mayor off the chest into the song or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and
cool.
from that song we actually listened back to a couple of tracks and like talked about maybe we should do some more of the Swedish lyrics, because it hits. First of all, it sounds different, and also it when you speak Swedish, it feels different also. So the next one was Requiem. I think we wrote lyrics to. Well, you, Jimmy, did, and that. Yeah, I remember when you did that, and it just felt so right. Like, why didn't we do this before? And then another one, and I think is it 4 or 3?
It's Morans Ritt, Spöktrap, Requiem. So it's 3, right?
Yeah. So it was cool to explore that side of it, and we should do more of that.
Yeah, it's a little bit exotic, you know, because I mean, when we played in Chile for the first time in South America or Latin America, the most wanted song I heard from people there was Requiem, and we sing in Swedish, so I guess it has some kind of exotic touch, you know. I listen to a lot of Brazilian and music, and in their native tongue, I don't catch a word of what they're saying, but like it's a feel or it's a vibe to it that feels very natural and real.
You kind of learn it phonetically, it's called, right?
Yeah.
Like the word, even though you don't understand the words, you can. Because I saw some people sing along.
Yeah.
When we
which was
that's weird, but nice. It's nice. It's cool that they know that.
It also connects with the band name, I think. I mean, we have a Swedish word for a band name.
That too, yeah.
So it feels natural to have some songs in Swedish.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. You know, it's one thing that's interesting. You know, I think Jimmy, you said, you know, you listen to a lot of you know, bands from Brazil that would be, I guess, in Portuguese in that case.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't understand it, but you know, there's a lot of the feel. And you know, I did a review earlier this year, and I'm going to butcher the name because I don't speak Lithuanian, but Jord Varnes, I think is how you say their name. But they're a kind of a progressive post-metal band from Lithuania. And the entire album's in Lithuanian. I don't understand anything they're saying. I did some rough Google translation so I could try to get some insight because I was curious. But it was interesting how even some of the rough translations, like, they did kind of reflect the feel I was getting from the music, which was really cool. And I don't know, there's something about a band singing in their native language that I think just adds something extra to the, you know, to the musical, the emotional feel that you get from it, you know, like it or not. And it's both. It's something that I talk about a lot with people, and I've even mentioned it in a handful of my reviews. Is, you know, English has become, for better or for worse, maybe for worse because it's really a terrible language in so many respects, has become kind of like the international language. And, you know, if you're marketing a band or recording an album, you know, if it's not done in English, a lot of times it hurts its overall appeal. And I think that's unfortunate because, you know, so often, you know, when a band doesn't have English as their first language and they're writing music and the songs that are performed in their native language, it's just something different about them. And that's something I noticed too on some of the Swedish songs. You just feel something a little different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, I mentioned Sigur Rós earlier, and they sing in Icelandic and sometimes in the made-up language, and and it doesn't matter. I mean, it's, yeah, like you said, it's the feel.
Mm-hmm.
You can make your own version of what it means.
Absolutely.
Magma is a good example.
Yeah, I
also.
was just gonna say Magma. Fuck you. Listen.
Yeah, another band, and I'm gonna butcher the name because I'm terrible with French too. They're on Instagram. It's Dana Post Metal, Dana. It's De La Big. I don't know how to say the rest of it. I'm not gonna try. I'm gonna butcher it. But all of they're from the French side of Switzerland, and all of their lyrics, I believe, are in French. And again, don't understand the thing they're saying. And it's like this shamanic kind of epic post metal with a lot of progressive and doomy elements. If you don't know them, you should check it out. Since I'm hearing Sigur Rós as a band that some of you like, you should definitely check it out. It's fabulous, and I can send it to you afterwards since I obviously can't pronounce the name. But again, same kind of thing. You know, they're singing their native language. It matches the mood of the music so well, and it hits really hard. Well, one question I had, and I'm probably going to butcher this name too because I believe it is a Swedish name, Klagans Snara. I don't even know if I was even close.
Yeah, that's great. Great pronunciation.
You know, so one of the things that's kind of cool, and I believe it translates approximately to Trap of Lamentation. Again, that's a Google Translate, so I could be totally wrong on that. You know, one thing that's notable about that song is the presence of throat singing. You know, which is obviously the only place on the album that it shows up, and you know, it was hard for me not to think of a band like the Who, the Who, like not the old Who, but the one from the Mongolian folk metal band. What inspired that?
Well, we had a friend who could do the throat singing, and we needed to add something to that song. Well, maybe that was that the initial thought of it. I can't remember.
No, I had an intro idea. It was called Spöket vill in. It means the ghosts want
to get in.
Wants to get in. And it just was this synth pad with like a drum beat thing, just an intro for the song, and then we just did something completely different with it. We used the synth thing. It's still there, I think. The arpeggiator thing. But then we added. We knew a guy who could do throat singing, and of course we want to have that. Sounds awesome. So
yeah.
It's a small guy with a big voice.
Yes. And he's also. It connects to Requiem. He's in at the last seconds of the song also, so it connects with the Klagans Snara. So it's kind of an intro to the song, the next song.
Yeah.
So it kind of wraps it up in the end of the song. But Klagans Snara, Trap of Lamentation, we were talking about that earlier, and we
the news of
complaint, like
like you're stuck in complaint. I guess Jimmy, you wrote that.
Yeah, it's
line?
I don't know the thing in English, but when you have a offerkofta, sacrificial coat, I don't know what you call it. It's a Swedish expression maybe. But it's you keep the news of complaints around you, but all you have to do is just let the news go, and the complaints are gone. Because in your head, like, just drop the news and move on. Just drop the complaints and focus on the present, or like. So that,
Okay.
I think,
So,
yeah.
so kind of like having like someone who kind of constantly has a negative outlook and is always finding a reason to complain for something, and just, hey, get out of that. Just move forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, we've talked a lot about the album, but obviously the motivation for this interview is Vulkan's appearance at Progstorm here just in a month and a half. And I believe, although you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this may be your first North American appearance, and by North America I'm saying either Canada or the U.S. I believe that's your first North American. So pretty big deal. I know when I saw you all announced, I got quite excited because I've never seen you live before. But how did the Progstorm appearance itself come to be, and what are each of you most excited about for Progstorm?
I guess we met with the band Void Chaser.
We met, in Munich, Germany.
Yeah.
We played at Prog Metal Mania. They came up to us after the show and just thanked us and just chatted for a bit, and they told us that they were having a festival back home in Canada.
We're talking about Void Chaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't think that anything got like decided or anything back then, but we said that we are absolutely interested. So we spent the evening together and we stayed in touch, and then we got an invite.
Yeah, we really got along with those guys. They're really fun to hang out with, and really good guys. They actually came to Sweden during their European tour and invited us to play on their tour. So we headlined their show in Stockholm.
Also called Progstorm, right?
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a
Oh, that's awesome.
small nugget.
And Vulkan and No Spoon, which is also playing.
Yeah.
Progstorm.
Yeah.
And Sun Goose.
No Spoon is fabulous.
Yeah.
Wow. Really good.
Yeah.
And Void Chaser is also amazing. I actually saw them and met them for the first time at Hyperspace Metal Festival in Vancouver back in April. I actually did an interview with them, and that's when I met GC and Chad and Eddie and Colin, and
Love those guys.
All such nice guys and fabulous band too. Like their live show is insane. Like they're so good live.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, and what?
Well, then what are you? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you were going there, I think, for the what's most longing for to visit Progstorm or Canada. But for me, I've never been in the States or Canada. Always wanted to go to Canada. Had a dream of moving to Vancouver when I was in school. I don't know why, but looked like a nice city. So yeah, just coming to Canada will be amazing. Now I know it's in Montreal, but I think it's even more beautiful than Vancouver.
Yeah, it's the same for me. It's just really fun to get to see the country. I don't think any one of us has been to Canada before, but for me it's just to go there is the most exciting thing, and also just see how the guys get this festival together. It seems really good on the paper right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, we're friends with the guys in Void Chaser. It's gonna be super fun to meet them in their hometown, and also the every time we play at one of these prog festivals, there's such a great community, and it's gonna be so interesting to meet everyone, the bands, and to play for the people and meet people after the show. I mean, it's always so fun, and it's always so fun to play these festivals. It's such great crowds.
Yeah, also for me, like the sites and all the hangouts and the show itself, and meet the people, really. Yeah, so I'm excited to go to Montreal and see that city. Unfortunately, the NHL season isn't going on right now, but maybe some other time we can go to an ice hockey game.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can just agree with what the other guys said, except the hockey thing, maybe. But I also looking forward to see Cynic, because I missed them at Brutal Assault a couple of years ago, so that made me very angry.
And Car Bomb.
Yeah, Cynic and Car Bomb were both like bands I've asked so far when I've done these interviews. Car Bomb and Cynic are both two consistent bands that were like, yes, we're excited to see these bands.
Yeah.
They're great, definitely great bands.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, one final question, and we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it has been 6 years since Technatura. Is there new material on the horizon? Like, what's next from the the Vulkan kind of contingent here? Like you all did actually tease, I think, some recording updates back in May. So what's the big scoop here?
We're at the end of the recording, I guess. We're close to finishing the new album, and the plan is to release it soon. Very soon. Yeah, I don't know what to say. How much I can say.
It's always the secret question. How much are you allowed to leak?
Yeah.
Well, we've worked on the album for a long time, and maybe we've been procrastinating a bit, but maybe a bit, a little bit. But we're seeing the end of the recordings just as we speak.
Watch out for the leeches sucking your blood.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah, we can say that. But we'll see if we bring some of the new material to Canada. We'll see. Don't give your hopes up, but maybe we can present something.
I mean, I'll definitely go on record to say it'd be a super cool treat if there was some new material that happened to show up at Progstorm.
Yeah, it would.
So I guess that's the tease, for the audience here. There's no guarantees, but you should buy your tickets to Progstorm because you might actually get to hear some new Vulkan material. Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
if it sells out.
It seems like it's pretty close. I know the tickets are pretty low at this point. It's actually, which is actually really, really exciting to see. Just going back to Progstorm for a second, it's only its second year. It's in a bigger venue this year than it was last year, and it's pretty close to sold out, which is just, I think, it's a really cool testament to GC and Eddie and those folks, really building up the right level of excitement and doing something different. It's hard to start a new festival, and living in North America, where we don't get as many metal festivals as you all get in Europe. It's a lot of them don't like the attendance can be smaller. It's harder to get them going, and it's really exciting to see a new festival like Progstorm in its second year doing so well. And I think it's only going to keep going up. And so, here'll be my push to everybody who watches this. If you don't have your ticket, help it sell out so we can hear some new Vulkan material.
Yes. Yeah, and I love the ambitious side from Progstorm and GC and Eddie. Not to settle with, I wouldn't say small bands, but just like you have to take a risk in these kinds of things. So kudos to them. And I hope Progstorm can keep on growing and be as good as all the other. Yeah, also that. So, yay Canada.
No, I'm very excited to be seeing you all there, and it's a great festival. I didn't actually get to go last year. I'm still kicking myself for it, so this will be my first year going, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts from all of you before we sign off here?
What should we see in Montreal?
That's a really good question, and unfortunately, I'm not the best person to answer that because I've never been to Montreal. This will be my first time going to Montreal as well. Yeah, I live in Seattle, and so I go to Vancouver all the time. I know the Pacific Northwestern part of the U.S. and Canada really well, and then I grew up in the southeast of the U.S., so I know that part of the U.S. really well. But I've been to Toronto a bunch, but I've never been to Montreal. So I know Montreal has a lot of cool stuff to see. But sadly, I'm not the best person to answer that question.
Okay. We'll ask some locals when we get there. But thank you, David.
No, absolutely. Thank you all for taking the time. Like I said, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I know we had a few technical difficulties along the way, and we'll see how much those show up in the final interview. But when all said and done, this was a lot of fun. Really appreciate the deep dives, the insights, and like I said, I'll just reiterate again. I'm really excited to see you all at Progstorm, and it'd be fun to meet all of you in person too.
Make it look like I shapeshift in the video.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody stay metal.
True.
Absolutely.